There are many celestial bodies out in space. They range from galaxies all the way down to teeny tiny individual stars. We're going to talk about a few of them. First, we're going to start with the big picture, which is the galaxies. A galaxy is basically a system of stars that's an associated matter that's held together by gravity. There are three types of galaxies that you're going to hear about. There's irregular galaxy, an elliptical galaxy, and a spiral galaxy. The first one's an irregular galaxy. It basically has no undetermined shape. There's no shape to it. These galaxies are the smallest and they contain the fewest stars. Some scientists believe that either A, they haven't finished forming yet, or B, they've collided with other galaxies and this is the resulting shape. But as you can see in this picture, there's no really definite shape. Okay? There's also an elliptical galaxy, which contains many old stars. Sometimes the stars are so close together in an elliptical galaxy that it looks like one large star, but it's not. It contains up to billions of stars. They have very little gas and dust in this galaxy, so they're not able to make new stars. I call this the nursing home of galaxies, basically where all the old stars go. There's also the spiral galaxy. This is the most famous galaxy that you've heard of. It's basically a disc shape. As you can see here, it's kind of got a little center disc shape, and it has these lighter bands or arms that are just basically stars and gas and dust that is trapped. They contain lots of dust and gas, as you can see, this faint stuff that is dust and gas, and they're able to make new stars, which is kind of neat. The most famous spiral galaxy that you know of is the Milky Way galaxy. That's where we live. Basically, you need to know that in this galaxy, our sun, which is in the center of our solar system, is near the edge of our disc-shaped galaxy on one of these arms. So here we are here. We're near the edge. Other things in space include planets. Our solar system contains 8 planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter. Oh man, I'm bad at this. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. It also contains several smaller dwarf planets like Pluto, Eris, and Ceres. It also contains many other things like the Kuiper Belt here and the Oort cloud way out here on the end. The Galilean moons. Back in 1610, Galileo built himself a telescope and he started observing the sky. The farthest he could see was Jupiter, which is pretty far with his technology of the days. So Galileo figured out that there were lots of moons around Jupiter, and he picked out the 4 largest moons that orbit Jupiter. They are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Also in space, there's asteroids, which are rocky, airless worlds that orbit the sun. They kind of look like planets, but they're too small to be called a planet, and their shape is too irregular. They kind of look like potatoes, as you can see here. And the most of the asteroids are in the Kuiper Belt, which separates the inner and outer planets. There's also meteors in space. In space, a meteor is basically a flash of light when a small chunk of debris burns up as it comes in our atmosphere. Sometimes they'll announce on the news there's going to be a meteor shower. Those sometimes look like falling stars, so if you see a falling star, it's really just a meteor that's being burned up. If any of that debris comes into the Earth's atmosphere, we change its name to a meteorite. And if any of that debris happens to survive its fall into our atmosphere and it comes in contact with Earth, we call it a meteoroid. So they're all the same thing, it just depends on where it is in its flight, from wherever it's going to wherever it's coming. There's also a comet. A comet's basically, sometimes we call them snowballs, because it's basically a bunch of frozen gas and ice and dust, and when they come real close to the sun, they heat up, and so it spits out this back gas trail, and that's why you get that glowing part at the top, and then you get this nice tail in the back. Most famous comet is Halley's Comet. Comes around about every 76 years. Last thing in space are stars. Basically, a star is a sphere of gas or dust held together by gravity, and it creates its own light through fission. It basically turns hydrogens into helium, and through that process, it creates lots of heat, and therefore it creates lots of light. Stars are all classified based on their color, their size, their where they are in their life cycle. There's many things that we use to classify stars, and we will talk about that very soon.